Good morning, good day, and good evening to you, wherever it is that you might find yourself at this beautiful moment in time. Welcome to the Wednesday Wanderer, the show where we unravel the beauty of adventure and creativity one story at a time. This episode is brought to you by Anchor. We are also brought to you by Michael B. Isbell Media. At Michael B. Isbell Media, we specialize in online branding and massive campaign content creation for any company or brand to help boost your visibility online. Using the power of content writing, photography, podcasting, and videography to reach your community where they already spend their time and attention. As well as our direct branding and consultation services, we have helped thousands of brands across North America become more efficient and save time and understanding on their creative process by making easy to read and understand digital tools that will walk you through the steps to building out your brand in a massive way off the work you're likely already doing. Shop Michael B. Isbell features a broad variety of merch that you can pick up to show your support for any of the shows under MBIM's network, such as The Wednesday Wanderer, M&M's for Breakfast, or any of my own content with creative designs constantly being added in for purchase. Be sure to use the coupon code TWWSupport on shopmichaelbisbell.com to receive 20% off your entire purchase, whether that be digital or physical products. That's TWW Support on shopmichaelbisbell.com. Nicholas Lehman is a filmmaker, actor, and seeker of information as a jack of all trades, spreading his knowledge and personality through meaningful interactions and connections with others with real interpersonal relationships, favoring in-person communication to the bustling of social media. Nicholas's interesting perspective as former field artillery in the Army with his amazing outlook on life and personality allow him an empathetic approach to the world and allows him to build a legacy on the back of his passions and beliefs. In this episode, Nicholas and I talk about so many awesome topics, from predictions on technologies and strategic systems to religion's role in our society and the benefits of working remote. We dive deep into topics that are extremely relevant with the changing job world and digital environment across the world. We get super detailed into spiritual enlightenment and our theories on the universe and how we connect with each other on a molecular level, and an intriguing arrangement of additional topics. So without further ado, I give you Nicholas Lehman. All right, we are good to go. What is going on, Nicholas?
It's all going on, man. What's going on with you?
Bro, it is great, man. It has been an amazing day. Today, I got to work from home today, so, amazing. You know, it's one of those days. I'm in a good mood. Yeah, you can't be in a bad mood whenever you literally got to choose what time you woke up, pick out your laptop, and start working.
I'm
you know,
jealous.
Yeah.
My wife gets to do the same thing. It's crazy. She just got a job with Age of Learning. It's a tech education company out of Glendale. She was a special education teacher before that, and it's like, man, I get just so jealous when she'll be like, oh, I get to work home 2 to 3 days a week, and I'm like, I never got to do that when I was in corporate America.
Yeah. You know, honestly, the whole industry is kind of changing. Can I get you to come a little bit closer to the microphone too?
Absolutely. This pillow is comfy.
Oh yeah. You know, honestly, the whole industry and the way that jobs work is kind of changing and becoming more of a remote-based thing. And I think that's because we do all of our jobs on the computer.
I think so. I think it makes more sense. It's also it's so much greener to have everybody just work from home.
Absolutely. Well, see, and the company saves so much money.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. In order for me to be happy, to have the freedom to travel and do what I want and live the life that I want, the company doesn't have to pay for health insurance. They don't have to pay for me to physically be there, and the liability, the electricity, the building costs.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
All these costs, all these things that go into that. They don't have to pay for a manager to not do anything but micromanage and watch and make sure I do my job.
We're going to need you to come in on Saturday.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that the more that we focus on production and what people put out and the things that they produce, the more that working from home or working remotely rather is gonna catch on and be more of a thing.
It seems like such a win-win. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you have to wonder, like, whenever something seems like too good to be true, I always wonder, like, who's losing here? And it must be like the owners of the real estate of offices. But I'm like, it's a quick fix for them too, What do they say?
Turn into a residential place.
Exactly.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah, boom, easy fix. That's done and done. Like,
I mean, we always need places to live.
It's incredible,
and it's like, or vacation spots, because like if people are able to travel more affordably, then that's gonna really change the game. Because why would anyone stay in one spot and not experience the culture of the world if they improve travel? Like right now, I can understand the barrier. Like could be over $1,000 just for a plane ticket to get to somewhere that you want to be at. So I can kind of understand, like maybe, I can understand the barrier. Like you can't travel, you can't do that.
Sure.
But like they're working on ways to improve that, you know?
Yeah.
Like those underground tunnels where you can, that Elon Musk is currently working on, where you can literally go from like Los Angeles to San Francisco in a matter of like an hour.
It's amazing.
Like, what?
Yeah, people will be doing it all the time.
A couple hours and you're in New York.
It's incredible.
Yeah. In your car.
Yeah.
You just chill in your car and just, it's gone.
100 years ago, like the Model T was out, everybody's riding around that thing, It's like, it's good. Yeah, it's good to see that these things are happening,
Mm-hmm.
Big fan.
Honestly, the whole like new technology for transportation, I think that one of the biggest things that's probably holding it back from keep like growing a little bit more is the focus on ownership.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like people want to have a car, they want to own this thing, they want it to physically like, this is mine.
It's gonna be mine.
It's mine, But honestly, I don't think that the future lies in ownership. I think that the future lies more immediately with maybe like a subscription model.
Yeah, like just services.
Like I actually have a theory that maybe it would be like an Uber subscription model. You pay monthly and you have access to this like car that will pick you up. That's like a self-driven kind of car, and like just pull your phone out and just like, I need a ride from here to here.
Yeah.
And it's like you've got the subscription service. You get like so many rides a month or whatever. Like
it's amazing.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
And I think I remember reading something. It was Elon Musk's like long-term plan for Tesla, and it's literally like along those same lines. Except I think he almost like he just embraced the fact that like Americans are always going to be capitalists in a weird way, and he's like, so the ownership model is like his envision for the future. It was like something like he wants everyone to own a Tesla, and in the future, like basically like it self drives you to work or you drive it to work,
and then you can make it go to work.
Yeah, you saw that. It like picks people up.
Exactly, and then you can be making money from your vehicle, so it actually is an asset because like while you're sitting there at work clocked in, your car's out there being an Uber driver.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. It's like those scooters you see on like Venice Beach. Mm-hmm. You plug them in, they're like free basically.
Yeah. That's actually how I get, I don't have a scooter, but I use a boosted board. I have a boosted Mini X.
I think I saw that thing.
Yeah, dude, it is lit. I love it.
I'd love to try that sometime.
Dude, we'll try it after the podcast.
That sounds amazing.
Seriously, like we'll go out into the parking lot.
Let's do it.
Dude, it's amazing.
I don't have a skateboard, I might fall, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
It's cool. It's cool. You can go 20 miles an hour, bro.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Are you like hanging? Are you like leaning forward? Like
nah, dude. I'm so chill with it because like I've been skating my whole life.
Yeah.
So like I just like, you should see me like I'm on the streets, on the sidewalks, and I'll just be like standing all the way up, just like got my backpack on, got my headphones on, I'm just chilling, like got the wind in my hair,
And it's amazing.
It's just like 20 miles an hour,
It's the future, dude.
It's hilarious the looks that I get from people though whenever I'm skating down the street.
They're just like, what is that guy doing?
Yeah, no, they look for a second and then they realize my feet aren't touching the ground, that I'm not like kicking. Yeah. And they go from like, oh, the skater to, what? Whoa, that's cool, awesome.
That's like my dog. Like anytime she passes, she's new to like city lifestyle. Like she like grew up in Oklahoma. We rescued her there. We were living in like the suburbs of Chicago for a little bit, but here, like when we take her out for walks in Glendale, it's like so interesting. Anytime she passes anybody in a skateboard, she's always like so fascinated. In fact, this morning I felt bad because she made a dude not fall off, but have to like stop his flow because she like kind of freaked out and like scared him. And he was like, "What the heck?" Like, it was funny.
And what kind of dog do you have?
So we have 2 shepherd mixes, and that whole like the whole like rescue thing is like you never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know they're shepherd mixes on paper. Certainly Major, who was our first, we got him in Pittsburgh about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. He's definitely got the coat, so you can tell. But he's got these floppy ears, and like no one really knows what Major is. He he's kind of like a Wookiee or something.
Yeah.
He's really interesting. And then Bailey, she's a rescue from Oklahoma, which we talked. You have some experience living in Oklahoma,
right? Yeah,
yeah. She's
after I graduated high school. It's so ironic.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's like small world.
It's just one of those states that I feel like. I mean, I guess it's not like North Dakota or just I don't know anybody from North Dakota. I like know, like six people out. Someone like I don't know from North Dakota, but Bailey's from there, and she's definitely more of like a dog. She's got the pointy ear. She's like a black coat. Like cream belly, and she's more focused, I would say.
Yeah.
She definitely like thinks the house is hers and we're the pawns to take care of.
Yeah. That's honestly Harley's getting to that point where she's starting to get like more like diminutive, I think is the right word. Like where she's like the one that has to be the alpha whenever other dogs come over. Oh, it's like we have this little dog, Aria, that'll come over and play with her sometimes, and it's so sad, but it's so funny at the same time because she'll. Like, she used to be the sweetest thing, just, like, lay on her back and be like, oh, yeah, I don't want to play. I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah, she'd be like, I'm good. Like, you win. I'm not even going to try. Go ahead. Like, whatever. Yeah. And now she'll, like, get her and, like, put her on the ground, like, be up right up in her neck. Like,
I'm in charge.
Yo, this is my place. What's up? My place. Yeah. Even whenever we go over to their place, like, she's like,
still doing the same thing?
I'm the man. She's like, I'm better than you. What's up?
I love that. I love dogs. You wonder what they're thinking. You can kind of tell by looking at them.
Dude, honestly, I legitimately okay, yeah, I was thinking about, like, how to say that, but no, there's no other way to say it. I legitimately feel like I have conversations with my dog.
Yeah. What was that movie? It was like a kid's movie. It was, I think it was Up. Remember Up with the balloons in the house?
Yeah.
And they had this dog collars. I'm like, somebody needs to invent that. Like,
dude,
that
okay.
needs to happen.
I was talking about this the other day with somebody. Can you imagine if we were able to actually crack the code on how to communicate with trees?
That'd be nuts.
Because, like, okay, the Redwoods, those trees have been there for millions of years.
It's amazing.
Like, what have those trees seen?
Yeah.
And, like, if plants communicate with each other, then, like, what did they learn over the last million years?
That we're just a bunch of assholes.
That we just have no clue about, Yeah. Because it's like, before the internet and before everything was always online and documented and transparent, like, we don't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of things flew under the rug and, like, disappeared from knowledge. And, like, if you weren't in the 5 people that were there...
Yeah. And they kind of have that network.
Who knows?
And I think, you probably heard of this. You seem like you know about these kind of things. The Redwoods have been around for forever. But isn't it, like, somewhere out here, maybe it's in Oregon, there's some, like, massive network of fungus under the ground?
Yeah.
You remember hearing about that?
Yeah.
It's like they, like, use that thing, they communicate. It's almost like...
they talk to each other for sure. Fungus definitely does talk to each other.
Amazing.
It's called mycelium, or...
That's probably...
I think it's mycelium, or something like that.
It sounds like a fungusy type of...
Yeah, it's like a word like that. But that's a big component of the stoned ape theory.
Yes, which is the whole, we were like just basically like all the other animals.
Yeah.
Took a bite and all of a sudden it was like...
Yeah. Honestly, like, it's not too crazy of a theory, to be honest. Like,
I think it's like spot on.
Yeah, but there's so many things that could be true though. Like, there's so many theories that, like, when you actually hear them out from start to finish, they all make sense.
It's ridiculous because it's like, I'm at this point now where I think like the classic, like, I don't even know, like, like the evolutionary model, like, that's like now boring to me. And which is funny because, like, I come from a pretty, like, conservative family. Like, I think my, like, distant, like, cousins and stuff, I think they even, like, think the earth is like 5,000 years old. I'm not lying. Like, I'm pretty sure they believe that. And so there's that piece that some people on earth think. And then there's, like, like the whole classic, like, monkeys, like, eventually standing straight now on a computer, right? And there's, like, stoned ape, which I'm like, that should definitely be the standard.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, I like get blown away with, like, the fantastical, like, stories of, like, our origins that come from, like, weird places like the Book of Enoch and stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's, like, more fun because, like, stoned ape is great. Like, that should be the standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, like, if this... there's also I have a theory that it could not necessarily be like aliens that came to Earth or anything, like, not that that's like completely out of whack. Like, I mean, as long as the Earth has been here, it's totally possible that could have happened.
Yeah.
But I think it's more realistic that, like, similar to our moon scenario, like where we went to the moon like all those years ago.
Yes.
And, like, the bacteria and the stuff that came off of us
Yeah, just
that's living on the moon right now.
Like propagated or something.
Yeah, so like there's technically like bacteria and stuff that lives on the moon.
Fast forward.
But like it's not like we brought it there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like what I would think is as many asteroids and comets and like little pieces of space dust and rocks and all that kind of stuff. It's totally possible that we are of alien origin just by fact of like biological spread.
Absolutely.
Over the universe, you know, like
amazing.
like it's not even that hard of a theory because of the fact that like the way that life wants to exist. So it would just attach itself to those like hot moving objects.
Yeah.
And so like if that hot moving object came to Earth,
it's like a very accommodating environment.
Yeah, I mean, like
hydrogen based.
What's funny though is the human body is actually made of the same chemicals as a star,
which is incredible.
Which is very interesting to me, like the exact same chemical composure almost.
It's almost as if like you could just see that it all worked out so long as there was a environment that was suited.
Yeah, exactly. So I almost wonder if maybe like if there was like I say if there was because like who knows if this even happened? It's like we weren't there, so who knows. But like, let's say if you follow like the evolutionary track, like the comet came in and like wiped out the dinosaurs or whatever. Like, it's possible that like if humans weren't alive at the same time as dinosaurs, mammals didn't dominate the Earth, maybe there was some sort of biome in that comet that adapted.
That's amazing.
Us, you know, like I don't know.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, like that's a possible theory.
Dude, that's probably
that kind of makes more sense to me because like it's weird to me when you look at humans versus all the animals on the planet.
Yeah.
Just because like humanity is the only animal that doesn't really naturally survive on the planet.
No,
like
not at all.
We can't be out in the sun because it burns us and like we like cook alive or like dehydrate and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
We can only drink certain pools of the water. We have to like decontaminate it and like can't have salt in it. It can't have bacteria in it. Like we have to cook our meat. We can't just eat it raw. Like we can't just kill an animal and eat it raw.
Yeah.
We have to propagate and clean plants that we eat, and we have to like germinate them and like cross-pollinate them to make safe versions so that we don't get poisoned.
It's incredible.
Like all of our survival has been us manipulating the planet, but every other creature on the planet, like the Earth happens to them.
Yeah. So what do you think that is? Like, are we like not in touch with our instincts? Like I've heard that like to this day, like I guess we still like opposite sexes and people that are attracted to each other can still like exchange pheromones, but we are like not in touch with that.
Yeah.
So we don't even know it's happening. Like it's like. So do you think it's more like the fact that we're not in touch with our instincts? That we have to like
I don't know.
Are we just so far from everything?
So my theory is either we're like and either way it doesn't matter because ultimately all you have is this moment right now and what you do right now.
It's still fun to talk about.
Exactly.
I can't get over it.
But like I think that either we probably come from some sort of like extraterrestrial descent, whether that be something that came here, whether that be like just bacteria on a rock, something like that probably manipulated or influenced the evolutionary tract.
Yeah.
Or I think that the stoned ape theory is probably pretty spot on because that whole theory, like there was 5 versions of humanity, you know, the 5 homo species or whatever. Like
is that kind of like the model we were talking about with like the
at one point there were 5 species of human that walked on the planet at the same time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There was the Neanderthals, you know, the Homo sapiens, the Homo whatever.
Erectus.
Erectus. Yeah, I think that's one of them. There was like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what they all are, honestly, what their names are. But basically the theory goes is that one of the ones that were living in trees came down and early mammals like monkeys and stuff would like flip over dung to get the bugs and stuff underneath. Yeah. And so one of the things that grows with it is mushrooms.
Right.
And so they believe that whenever they would go digging in that dung to get their food source, they would have the mushrooms, and that the mushrooms
the psilocybin.
Literally, the psilocybin, like it literally changed the chemical composure of their brain, making new connections, new neurological impacts in their brain. And what they believe happened is that the consumption of mushrooms opened up the door to communication.
I don't think it's plausible that like either of these events didn't happen. Like you're saying, like it's like there's stoned ape and there's like like the comet theory. I think that those could absolutely have happened, and like
absolutely.
The other. And you know what's interesting is like you might have even heard, who was that guy, Crock or something, that the doctor that discovered the DNA molecule. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting. I didn't know about this. I was looking up a YouTube video about the Urantia book. Mm-hmm. Urantia book's like this like weird collection of like papers that started appearing on the streets of Chicago in the 1930s.
Oh, wow.
And no one to this day knows who wrote them, but they compiled them. And they're essentially like the new Bible, mm-hmm. right? They retell like these old stories like Book of Enoch and whatnot. And one of the major lessons in it, and I had to like look this up on YouTube, this is where I'm going with this, was that we kind of come like clearly from somewhere that's not here. Right. And so this YouTube video that I found, basically the guy was quoting, again, I don't know, I think it's Dr. Crock, the discoverer of the DNA molecule. And I guess like after he and his buddy had won the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever, and they were so accomplished, I guess they were at some like conference, and it was the first time he had addressed the situation. Mm-hmm. Someone's like, so hey, maybe this is a stupid question, but where did DNA come from? And legitimately, he had thought about this, and he said, well, I think I know, but it's not a very popular opinion. Mm-hmm. And it was like, he used some term like transpermia or something. It was basically like intergalactic transpermia, and his belief was that DNA was purposely like placed throughout the universe, mm-hmm. and we are one of those such places where it happened to propagate and mm-hmm. Evolve and whatnot. And I thought that was like mind blowing. And I guess that opinion of his obviously never made it to our elementary school history books or biology books. Yeah,
it's so interesting to think about because like I don't know, I think that it's highly unlikely that there's nothing out there. Because like if you think about it, even if there's only like a 1% chance, if the universe is truly infinite, then at some point in time that 1% has got to happen.
It's got to happen.
So like
you'd be interested in the Urantia book, man.
Somewhere, it's like somewhere, sometime in place, like. There's also the whole point and the factor that like we couldn't really know or really effectively communicate with anything, even if it was there, because the nearest stars are light years away. Yeah. So like for us to observe the stars, for example, you're actually observing the past. Every star in the sky that you see right now is dead.
It's a while. Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's already gone. Like it's exploded and like.
Which is so funny because it's like, of course, we as humans, like even you and I sitting here having this conversation, we like would think like, oh, we should be like trying to communicate with extraterrestrials and things. It's like, who are we? Like I guarantee you, if we obviously we both agree there's absolutely other things out there, but. There's no way we are at the top of that food chain. Mm-hmm. And I think even food chain's like a bad word. There's no way that, what I mean? It's like clearly like if we were like placed here, like if there was some, I don't know, intelligent, like much more intelligent species that places here, I think mm-hmm. that, they're probably watching us from a distance and they're like, look, they're trying to talk to us. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah. Let's just let them do that for a couple million more years and then eventually be like us, maybe.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that is a very likely theory, and I think I have a very strong theory actually on this called the water drop theory.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned this. I think we've already talked through this on the podcast before, so sorry if you're rehearing this story, but essentially I think that humans work similar to the water cycle, right? So if you imagine rain over the ocean, this is the easiest way to analyze it. That raindrop is a water molecule throughout its entire life process, throughout its entire existence. From the time that it forms in the clouds to the time that it hits the ocean, it's a water drop molecule, right? Yeah. It falls down and it takes the form of a raindrop so that it can serve the purpose of recycling water onto the earth, right? And keeping it in cycle, keeping it moving forward in the way that it needs to, in a way that only it knows that it needs to, because it knows when it needs to fall, right? So I think that similarly, we are energy that chooses to become humans and take form for a certain purpose to live out this life. Like, I think that, from our interpretation, there's good and bad, but like someone else's bad is just what they were born with. Everyone thinks that they're good. Everyone grows up and gets taught these things, and like from their perspective, they're helping someone. Right.
It's a good point.
So it's like no one is actually bad. It's just like throughout history and throughout time, like you just fall on different sides of the thing. Like it's sad that those cultures and stories negatively affect certain people for those people. Like, I empathize with those people, but ultimately there isn't really any bad things in the world because everything just drives something forward, right?
Right.
So that raindrop falls over the ocean and it falls into the ocean and doesn't cease to become a water molecule anymore. I think that our interpretation of what God is actually us looking at the ocean, which is millions of water molecules, calling it the ocean, when in reality it's millions of water molecules. Millions of individual entities that make up this whole. But whenever we look at it from our interpretation, all we can see is the one big thing.
So you're saying God would look at, like, Earth, for example, and the humans on it as, what, like individuals, not so much like just one massive collective.
Exactly.
Which I think we certainly do with, like, I mean, shoot, man, we have borders, we have countries, we're like, oh, these people belong here, and that's going to go there, and, like, we don't like those other assholes. You know, like, it's like, really?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But, honestly, like, every religious text says that it references and alludes to the fact that we make up whatever is their entity, like whether it be Buddha or Allah or God or like whatever, like the people make up the body. Like in Christianity, it actually uses the term the body of Christ. Like it is the people that make it up. So like even the religions themselves actually reference to that,
which is interesting because I always think like, the guy who married my wife and I, we got married on the beach in Hawaii.
Oh, that's fun.
He was telling us about like, it was awesome. He was telling us about like who Christ is, like, and it just got me thinking. Like, he is an example of how Krishna from Hinduism, he's absolutely Christ in that culture. And I was like, that would make more sense. Like, if there were to be a God, how is it that he would decide? He'd look at like the map of the world and be like, I'm going to put my son right here where all this other stuff's been happening, and according to these books of these people, like, clearly not. Like, if he was going to do things that way, he probably would have provided similar deities that were of like the look, shape, and ability to communicate that represented other cultures on Earth, like Mayans, Aztecs, Native Americans, Far East traditions. It's like all of like the major deities that every even polytheistic religion speaks of. It's like, I would imagine that those were Christ, just in their version, like the
their
version
interpretation of what
like what their culture would look at, like it would be of a sanctity or like a sacred background of someone to have like blue skin, whatever the reason for that is, and like So Krishna did, and so did other major deities of that religion. And
well, honestly, Buddha. I just think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I think that the whole thing is just like it's like a cycle to keep people to like be ruled. I think that ultimately that's what religion is. Like even if you look at the teachings that Jesus Christ himself had, he actually was very much so against the religious organization,
he never
like the church itself.
Exactly.
The whole thing, like Christianity itself, was formed like after he was long gone. Yeah. Because like his whole life, he was like, no, like it's like to be forming together and to be able to say like that you're right and you're wrong and you're better than him and you're not better than him, like that's wrong. Like you just need to be out there spreading peace and love and like spreading this positivity around the world and living your lives. Like,
exactly. There would be
that's what he taught.
There's no way that someone as cool as Jesus would have ever endeavored to create an organization that would eventually enslave and rape and pillage millions of people.
Well, honestly, the only reason why people have the sentiment about Christianity that they do is because back in Constantine's time, Constantinople, essentially he commandeered the Catholic Church's hold on the Roman Empire and converted the entire country to Christianity.
I think I remember. Wasn't that like? Didn't he have like a dream or something the night before he went on the battle? We saw the cross instead of the eagle. Yeah,
and so because of him, that's why the United States of America is so heavy in Christianity. Yeah. Because of that, because of the fact that we pull on our Roman heritage, which went into Europe and then went into us getting here eventually. So
and almost like secretly the world over too. I think Louis C.K. had a stand-up bit one time about,
and he only did that to get away with his crimes too. That was
Constantinople.
Yeah, like he was gonna go to jail and be murdered.
But he
like by the
decided
Catholic Church, but he changed the whole country's religion to Christianity to get out of religious purgicide or whatever it's called.
Well, shoot, man. You know, if you know you're gonna be on like death row, I guess you're gonna have a dream about.
But isn't that crazy that literally the whole like religious wars, the whole like
it's mind blowing, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's all just because somebody wanted to get out of like
being a jail free card.
Yeah, that was it.
That's incredible. It makes sense. It perfectly. You know what I mean? It's like any major religion, but yeah, there was like a joke about it was like I think Louis C.K. was talking about he's like, what year is it? He's like, what year is it? He was asking the audience. He's like, is it? I think it was like 2016. He's like, is it 2016? He's like, that's because the Christians won. Like they beat the world. Okay, let's just face it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so interesting because it could have been anybody. It could have been. You know, in America, we could be speaking French right now. Had the you know the French won the French and Indian War, right? Like, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could be speaking Cherokee right now because the Europeans never came over and did what they did. Like
what they did, man.
You know, like exactly. There's a lot of things that could have happened. Like this whole butterfly effect thing. Like honestly, I think what's crazy is whenever people get all bent out of shape. Like it's fun to sit and have these conversations, you know, and like theorize on like what could have happened, what could have been, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of sad though that a lot of people put too much, like they put a lot of stock into those opinions, like the things that we were just like candidly talking about, like casually having a conversation. There's a lot of people that I've met that get like real riled up, like for real, like into those opinions,
and that's
like,
the issue.
Yeah, and it's like, who cares, you know, like how is that affecting your right now moment? How is that affecting what you can do for the world?
Yeah, it makes you feel so distant too. Like I don't know if you ever saw like a trailer, the actual documentary. It's called like Jesus School or something like that. It was about like one of these like ultra conservative like almost like summer schools, like parents send their kids to, and like kids are crying, people are being screamed at, and it's like who started all of that stuff? Like who took it in that direction? Because it's like those people were so far removed from being in the moment and understanding like what the basic meaning of things are, that like to you and me it's like they feel like a different world, you know what I mean, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
It's just not a good thing.
You know?
So I really want to talk about your move to New York. That like this whole thing sounds really cool. Like I'm super excited to hear about film school. Especially because I actually have a little bit of a connection with this myself, because whenever I thought that I was going to go to college, one of my plans, I actually got accepted to go to AMDA out here in Los Angeles, which is the American musical. It's like the Academy of Musical Dramatic Arts.
Okay, cool.
Or something like that.
That's awesome.
Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I was going to go for musical theater. It was going to be really fun. But I decided not to go because I was like, debt, you know, I'm good. I'll pass. I'm good.
Been there. I know.
So I just ended up moving out here and kind of learning it and figuring out on the grind, doing it myself. But I'm really curious to hear about New York Film Academy.
Yeah, absolutely.
For acting.
Yeah. You know, it's actually that story you mentioned that reminds me. When I was back in my undergrad at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, it was interesting. I was a brand new freshman. I just got out of like basic training in AIT for the Army and had the summer off, and I had actually had an active application going for West Point, which is like this ridiculous application process. Like I think at some point you have to there's like a test of how far you can toss a basketball from a seated position. I was like, who does this? You know what I mean? Like who cares? But like, it's part of the test.
Right.
And it was like I was like in the middle of this whole process, and they were like kind of interested, the guy I was working with. And I remember just feeling content, feeling like, like my girlfriend, who's not my wife, she's here with me. I'm still in like a similar program. I was in ROTC at that school. Yeah, it's not the prestige of West Point, but I was like, I can still achieve the same end result while not placing as much on the line.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of my relation to your story about AMDA. I think that, I get what you're saying by, there's an opportunity knocking, but sometimes it's almost like better to take your time and do things your own way.
Exactly. It would have been great to go to the whole like film school thing and like get the connections and like do the theater stuff and like all the training and everything. But like, it would just, to go into debt for essentially a 4-year vacation.
Yeah.
Was like,
sometimes.
You know, like I can learn all this stuff on YouTube. Like,
exactly.
I'm good.
Yeah. Too bad that's not like the status quo yet. You know, like everyone's just learning off YouTube. But yeah, so New York Film Academy. Oh man, this is like a last minute decision. It was honestly like, so I was actually working at a construction company just outside of Chicago, and this was going on up until, oh my goodness, like I think February, March of this year. Still working there, still doing my grind. I was actually in Batavia, Illinois, which is like the headquarters of Aldi. Have you seen those supermarkets?
Yeah,
Aldi's out there. It's like a cool little old like Midwest town. And I had just gone on an interview with Wells Fargo in their like East Coast headquarters in Charlotte, and came
North
back
Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's interesting.
That's actually a beautiful area.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, we used to go camping up there a lot.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Did you go there like in the summers or whatnot?
Actually, we would go in the winters and go skiing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I hear there's great skiing opportunities.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Like, I'm flashing back right now because it's weird. I haven't thought about that place in years. So I'm like, yeah, no, that was fun. I went on the highest peak, like, right off the bat, you know, because I was like...
You're like, I'm going to go for it.
I got it, you know, let's do it. Let's do it. Like, go big or go home, you know?
Exactly.
I remember the fear, like, thinking that I was going to fall off because like, a fake snow mountain a little bit, you know, like, they use the fake snow to, like, build up.
What is that stuff? What is the fake snow? I never knew.
I think it's, like,
Is it water?
I think it's water and something else.
It's cold, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they put, like, water and CO2 and they, like, super freeze it and it, like, makes these tiny little crystals that look like snow.
It's kind of snow-like.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I never knew.
Yeah.
But, so I'm there and I get the call or I get the email, whatever it is. And they're like, hey, you got the job with Wells Fargo. I'm like, yay. It's funny because, like...
He's like, yay.
At the time, my wife and I had, like, definitely planned to stay in Chicago. Like, that was, you know, we had moved there from Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So that's our... Oklahoma connection.
Yeah.
And we were planning on staying there. We had been there like 2 years, you know. And I was like, so, you know, is it going to be downtown? Like, I'm asking these questions. And they're like, actually, you're going to be placed in Los Angeles. And I was like, California? like there's another, you know, and they're like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, shoot, okay. Like, and, you know, that kind of just hit us like out of nowhere. No plans to come here. And this is like, you know, 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I like looked at my wife and I was like, so what do we do about this opportunity? Like, this is like it seemed like once in a lifetime type of, you know, setup there. And I was like, let's just do it. So literally, you know, we traded in. We had like 2 Buicks at the time. Got this, you saw it, the GMC Acadia.
That was a really nice car. Yeah.
Beautiful. I can't wait to trade it in for something else.
Get a Tesla.
We'll get there. I feel like motorcycles are the SoCal cheat code.
Dude, I want a motorcycle so bad.
Isn't that the way Tesla's coming out with a motorcycle? I think.
Oh shit!
Somebody had.
Oh shit!
There's a prototype.
I'm about to get a
of an
motorcycle then. If Tesla comes out with a motorcycle, I will 100% buy that motorcycle.
I think Keanu Reeves has a custom bike shop out here too.
That's awesome.
He might have like a electric version too.
That's really cool.
I don't know, but like anyway, so we packed the car up, like pillows, dogs, stuff that we want. Shipped like a couple U-Haul U-boxes, and then boom, we found ourselves on essentially what it was like Route 66, Chicago to LA. We took the full risk of finding a place on Zillow and you know, renting it before ever seeing it. Like the first time we saw our place was when we like arrived.
Oh wow.
So thank God it's okay. It's good.
You show up, you're like, oh thank God, it looks nice. It looks like the pictures.
Oh my God, that was a conversation. But it's good. It's over. It's in Glendale and moved in. Smooth transition. So I'm at Wells Fargo, you know, I'm in this it's called the vet program. They have this like internship. It's like an 8-week deal for veterans. You come in, you kind of like understand the flow of the office, and then like if they like you or whatever, they offer you a full-time job. So got the full-time gig,
which is technically illegal.
What to do?
To give you a job with the promise of another job, it's technically illegal.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up.
The whole internship thing is actually pretty much illegal.
It seems a little sketch. You know what I mean? Like very sketchy.
Yeah, no, it's 100% like. I was watching this Adam Ruins Everything episode about it. Shout out to College Humor. They make really awesome stuff. But I like actually did the research. Like I clicked on the links that they had provided and like looked into a bunch of other websites. Yeah. and looked into it myself, and like, holy crap, like the whole internship model.
So he has an episode.
Super corrupt. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I gotta look into it.
Yeah, for sure. If you have some time, you can definitely. It's like a 10-minute episode. I'll throw it up on the thing afterwards. But
so it's super. It makes sense though.
Yeah, like, dude,
it felt iffy.
It's weird, man.
It was even iffier for the guys I know that like got the job and like relocated and stuff, and then like weren't offered the full-time job. I was like, yikes, you know, like. So luckily that wasn't me, but it wasn't too much later that my wife and I are just like driving to IKEA. You know, Burbank is like up. It's like the next valley or the neighborhood into the valley.
Right.
So we're going to IKEA. And like on that same road, I love
IKEA.
Love IKEA. I'm like, I could be there. I don't know what it is. Like people talk about the fights they have there. I'm like, I go there, like hang out. And I try out this furniture, try out that furniture. Like,
it's so relaxing, you know. It's just
amazing.
like go and you chill and you hang out. It's like you got all these different home spaces, you know.
I could live there. So you can just like hide under the bed. And, you know. And plus they have Swedish meatballs. Who can deny Swedish meatballs?
It's like Costco, and they're awesome. Like,
do they have Swedish meatballs?
I don't know if they have Swedish meatballs, but they have really bomb like
dogs
side stuff.
Pizzas.
You know, I think they took away the pizza.
They took away the pizza?
That's what I heard. I haven't gone there in a minute, but I heard that they took away the pizza because they're trying to be healthy.
That's a travesty.
I'm
like CVS taking away cigarettes. Like,
it's like, like you guys have the best pizza, and it was like $5 for this amazing like huge pizza.
You broke my heart. I can't believe that.
I might be wrong. Maybe they, you know, heard through the grapevine that would be a bad idea, and they were like, maybe we should not cut out our 20 to 30-year-old like user base of this whole establishment. Like,
come on, we have the best pizza in America here.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. But so we're on our way, and like whatever highway it was, driving to there, it's like you can't miss it. I think it's like the 5 to like the 134. I think it is the 134. You see like New York Film Academy, like you can't, it's just right there. And I'm like, wow, New York Film Academy, like what is that? Like what is this all about? Yeah. And so at work, like literally the following week, I was like just kind of like at the office, you know, like looking it up and like researching and. So
you're like the 2%, like when they put up those billboard ads, you know, and like all the people that just pass it and ignore it and never even pay attention to it.
2%
you're like that 2% that actually makes those billboard ads worth it for them.
That's a statistic, right?
Yeah,
that's like
wow. You're the 2%.
That's
what you could start telling people. Part of the 2%.
I'm making a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Billboard club, you know. I noticed I do. Like I definitely like the Chick-fil-A billboards. Like eat more chicken, or there was like a cow holding some crap.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Dude, where I lived in Georgia, that's where I lived, was with the big chicken.
Yeah.
You know, like the actual big chicken there in Georgia.
What's the big chicken? I don't even know. Like for Chick-fil-A?
It's the Chick-fil-A headquarters.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right there, right outside of Atlanta, and there's a giant chicken.
Do you have a problem with Chick-fil-A? Because I don't have a problem with Chick-fil-A.
No, I don't care about their business practices. I just like the food.
They make it.
You know, like I don't care.
It pisses me off because you can't really get that here in LA. Like you have to drive so far. Like there's
a Chick-fil-A right around the corner.
You guys are lucky in the OC.
There is a Chick-fil-A. Honestly, I might get Chick-fil-A for dinner. Honestly, like.
Actually, I think I saw it coming in.
Yeah, it's literally 5 minutes away. If you want Chick-fil-A, we're gonna definitely do that.
I'll go get Chick-fil-A
after this, because like now I'm like I really want that so bad.
I miss it,
dude. They're bomb.
You guys will have to come to Glendale sometime. We'll show you around, and you'll see just how there's no Chick-fil-A anywhere, but there's like all these other places. And anyway, so I'm the 2% that found that billboard, did the research, and basically what I had determined was that you know, veterans, they get like you get the GI Bill, which is essentially like free college, and turns out I had like a year left, and I'm like, okay, so I'm like looking at different programs. And they had these things called like year conservatories for different subjects. You know, if you want to do cinematography or what have you. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do acting. Why not? It's just it's different. In a weird way, I felt like I've been acting the past 10 years of my life anyway. So
you kind of mentioned that earlier. I want you to elaborate on that too when you're kind of done giving this overview.
Yeah,
because that sounds like I want to hear more about that.
I'm gonna dive right into that actually, because the pickup is really that. I did it, and I'm in, and I quit Wells Fargo, and you know, honestly, I could be happier. This is just a great opportunity to try something new, and something that's honestly, like, every day that I'm in class, it's like, I sit there and I'm like, wow, I don't know any of this stuff. It's really refreshing to be taught, like, subjects and different viewpoints.
I 100% agree. Whenever I started learning the filmmaking process, because I've only ever used a webcam and my phone, so like very limited, like
resources.
Never got into like the depth of like the editing and the color grading and like the details, you know, like the back end,
all the crazy
stuff, And over the past year, I've learned so much stuff. It's crazy. Like now,
from YouTube videos.
Yeah, and now
amazing.
it's like now I 100% understand the whole DSLR ecosystem, the difference between video cameras and cameras, and like the tax system.
We were talking
like,
about that.
Yeah, all that information, like the gear. I've learned how to color grade, how to edit, how to use programs like Premiere Pro and the whole Adobe suite, like how to use everything. That's pretty much. Like I can make a movie. Dude, you know, like
I'll be talking with you.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure,
like
man.
it's crazy to me that like things have progressed to this point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's always kind of been leading to this.
You mean like in terms of information being as accessible as it is? Like you can
pick
up something?
Well, yeah, that. But I was more so just saying for myself. Like it's crazy to me. Like when I look at my older stuff that I used to make, and then I look at the stuff that I make now, and I'm like, whoa,
so much better.
How did I learn how to do that?
Yeah.
Like I don't really remember like picking the steps along the way. I just like can see like through my work.
Yeah.
That's like, oh wow, like
that's a good point. Though.
How did I learn that? Because like honestly, I don't even really know what I'm doing. Like I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And it's like whenever an issue comes up, I'm like, for something just pops in my head. It's just like, oh yeah, this is how you do it.
It's like habitual.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, just this is how I do that.
I can totally see you doing that because it's like you watch his YouTube videos like. Some guy's like, oh, click on that thing. Okay, click on that thing. Okay.
Exactly.
And then you just do it enough times, you're like, I know what things to click on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
You just go right in. Things that are beautiful.
Yeah, it's odd, but like sometimes my brain, like I'll be like, man, I don't know how to fix this. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then I'll just like start clicking around. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah, boom.
And
done.
you got it.
No, it's done. Yeah.
That's what's cool, man.
It's like that muscle memory, you know.
And of course, you can always keep learning too.
Absolutely.
Always keep advancing your craft.
But getting into it was so fun. I kind of lost that point because we started talking about the details of. I get so excited about.
No, I would love to learn. Honestly, I would love. Like we have a DSLR we bought for our engagement pictures. We had a photographer for the wedding in Hawaii, but we had this DSLR because my mother-in-law took the pictures. It was actually in like Bethel Park outside of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, which is where we grew up, and great pictures. And literally, I mean, it's not exactly like this, but it's basically like we took those pictures, printed them, published them, blah, 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 and like never really looked at the camera again. I mean, like, I've messed around with it and I've done things, but not to the degree that I would have liked. Yeah. It's really sad, too, because you're making a good point that, like, if you just take some time and, maybe try to find out the details of something you're interested in, you can turn your craft into something amazing.
And it's so fun to learn something that you don't already know how to do.
Which is exactly what I'm doing at night.
Exactly. Like, so that's why I was bringing it up, is like, for me, this whole process of actually learning something that I don't already know. Yeah. It's not like, oh yeah, whatever, this is easy. Like, it's really learn it in 2 seconds and then pretend for the next 9 months that I'm still interested in learning. Exactly. Well, like in reality, I figured it out the first week.
So you're saying like compared to like a traditional class type setting? Yeah. That's a good point. I remember this very clearly. The only class I ever got like a D or maybe it was an F, I don't know, in high school was coding. And it was the weirdest thing because like I found coding, and I still do, fascinating. Like I loved it. It was literally like one of the only like classes I had in high school that like grabbed my attention. But the problem was, it was like me and my best friend were in that class together, and it was just a cut-up session, and so things just didn't end up well. But like, had I not been in it with my best friend, like I don't know, who knows, maybe I'd be coding or something. But I thought it was so cool. Right. And I've kind of returned to it every now and then.
Dude, you can learn coding super easy now.
Code Academy, right?
I was just about to mention Code Academy. Yeah, that's how I learned, actually.
Did you
Code Academy and Udemy.
Udemy, oh yeah.
Udemy, or Udemy.
Udemy.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like UDEMY or something like that.
There's like another one that begins with a K. Did you ever see that one? Khan Academy.
I think I've heard of that. Something like that. There's Skillshare now, and there's like all this stuff, dude. There's so many learning platforms out there now. Like amazing. Honestly, there's no excuse. One too,
the Harvard Xversity or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm curious, why go to school? Like, why go to film school? Like, you're married, you've got this life, like, you're in LA. Why not just start, acting and like doing the shows and like learning that? Like, I'm curious why you're moving to New York and just kind of doing it that way, like doing this whole start from scratch sort of deal.
I get what you're saying. Well, first off, I'll be staying here in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. New York Film Academy, I think, started in New York, but it's mainly in Burbank now.
Oh, okay.
So I would love to go to New York. I've never been.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, the only time I ever saw, it's weird because I'm from the East Coast and people assume, oh, you've been to New York.
I've never been either, and I've like lived everywhere in the East Coast.
It's incredible. It's like, the only time I did see it, it was funny. I was on this like training mission with the National Guard, and I was on the back of like a Black Hawk. Mm-hmm. And I was like looking out the window. We like went right through like, I don't know, the Hudson or whatever. Like,
yeah.
You know, around the Statue of Liberty, and then like we went up to like West Point, and like I had pictures, and it was really cool to see New York from that perspective. But I've never been like shoes on the ground, New York City.
I've never even been to New York.
We gotta go, man. We gotta book this.
Dude, I want to go to New York bad.
Have you ever been to Boston? Have you been to?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't really been like up to the northeastern section. You know, like I've gone pretty much up to Missouri, that line, you know, everywhere south of Missouri and on. It's pretty much
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Florida. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and answer your question.
Yeah.
So basically, I guess you're making a really good point. Like, why not throw yourself at it? And I think that there's something to be said about just my number one, like major like unfamiliarity with the realm of acting, but furthermore the entertainment industry. And then that's kind of why I think like maybe like more of a formal something would be good. And I think that leads into number two, which is when I did my research at Wells Fargo, you know, like looking at, you know, what how this whole situation works.
Yeah.
I found this one webpage. It was really cool. It's like this guide for acting. It's like step 1, step 2, and one of them is like, you know, you obviously need to get an agent. And like to do that, most agents like they generally don't want to like deal with people who don't have like a formal background.
Right.
And it was crazy too, because I think it was last Tuesday, in the morning, New York Film Academy offered this, they call it like business for acting, like symposium. It was like a 3-hour, some former casting executive was there talking about like the numbers, like the raw, like, you know. Yeah. And he was like, okay, here's the deal. Like he said, and I don't know if this is true, great. I love things like this. He's like, okay, so 50,000 people move to Southern California every year in hopes of fame and fortune. 2 years later, 95% of those people will be gone.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me. It also felt a little good too, because you know, I at this point in time, I'm pretty financially secure, and my wife's got a pretty good job, and so we're kind of in a good spot where Los Angeles is more than likely, if not Los Angeles, maybe Southern California, will be our forever home.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
how I am too. It's like I'm not going anywhere.
And so I think that right there speaks volumes about this. You know, I don't like to boast, but like sort of like an advantage I have in that numbers game. And so I kind of look at it like, you know, I want to play this so right. And who knows who wrote that 8-step guide I was just talking about, but I think that getting the agent and doing all that stuff, I would like to be that guy who can say, you know, like, hey, I do have a formal background. Like, it's not major. I wasn't in theater growing up or anything. Yeah. But I at least have, like, this little thing. Plus, it helps with the networking, too. You know,
Absolutely.
Like, I'm meeting people that are doing things and starring in student films that are, like, real goofy, but I love it, you know.
You know, I did, I can't remember what the name of the website is. I'm going to look it up real quick. Virgo Talent. That's what it is.
Virgo Talent.
Virgo Talent. You need to look into that. And, like, obviously, and none of the people I've talked about today, none of these are, like, affiliates or sponsors or anything like that. Apparently, you have to say that now. Because that's, like, a thing. So, I don't know. I guess, just so you know, that's not a thing. But Virgo Talent is dope, dude. You can get commercial work, like, now.
No shit.
Yeah. You literally, it's, like, $10 a month, like... I think $10 a month or something like that. Or actually, it might be $10 to sign up, and then you're good for a year. Actually, I think.
Dude,
but they take like a percent. That's what it is. They take a percentage. I'm sorry, I haven't used it in a while because all the jobs are in LA.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just now transitioning back to a work from home position.
Okay.
Where I'm not going to the agency every day, but right now I'm still there Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it a little bit difficult. Like I can't really go to LA whenever I have to be here, like till 5 o'clock.
Right.
So it's like. Yeah, I haven't used it in a minute.
So you've been on there? You've done...
Yeah, no, it's amazing, bro.
Have you done commercials and stuff?
Yeah, it's amazing.
No way.
Like, dude, it's so cool. Literally, all you do is you go on there and you get a professional headshot, which you can get with them. They have, like, times and stuff where they set up. You can get professional headshots.
That's awesome.
You go on there and you sign up. You pay your fee. You sign up, and you become immediately listed in this directory. You put the kind of stuff you want to do, like, you know, what your experience is, like, kind of personality, your looks, you put your traits and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then other companies will literally reach out to you and be like, yo, you're a bearded dude with like curly hair. Like, do you want to come do a like lumberjack thing? Like, we're trying to sell a new maple syrup. Do you want to come do this, commercial? Like,
best maple syrup.
Boom. Because they can actually look at your photo, look at your stuff, and be like, all right, cool, yeah, we'll send them a thing.
That's amazing. You bring up the headshot. That's a good point. I think I got one done at the beginning of the semester, but then later on they were like, oh, no, that wasn't a headshot. That wasn't a headshot. And I was like, can I still get a copy? And they gave me this thing. It's okay, but I do need to get on one.
I highly recommend you get on Virgo Talent. I highly recommend you start making content.
I'm going to do that.
Like, digital content. So, like, producing content on, like, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, making videos on YouTube, like, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because, honestly, that can start get you jobs right now.
That's amazing.
And you can do the school thing,
simultaneously,
yeah. But, honestly, I think you'd be better off making content on YouTube because that's actually acting.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever. Like, if you do it weekly, that's 52 videos at the end of the year. That's where you've had to, like, communicate something from inside your head to an audience, like 52 times.
Then you're absolutely right. Because there are times, at school where you're kind of sitting and you're kind of going like, what does this have to do with anything right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure you felt that same way.
I am very much so against school, actually. That's why I wanted to talk to you about like why, like, because like for someone so like at your point in life, not trying to bash on your decision, obviously. I think it's cool, like, that you're doing this thing and like you're going to get credentials, but like, I don't understand why someone in your position would go to school for acting. Whenever you live here, you're financially secure. Like, if you're financially secure enough to where you don't have to go to Wells Fargo and work there anymore, then like I would be just spending 8 hours a day going to auditions.
I get what you're saying.
It's like I feel like that's a lot better than.
If it makes any sense, it's only been like, honestly, it's been like a month since I started school, and if honestly, it's nothing like against knife or anything. It's just like this thought of like, before that, like 6-8 weeks ago, I would have had no idea what you were talking about right now. But the fact that you are saying these things, I now know what you mean. Yeah. And I'm now sort of like, but I'm deep enough where I'm like, okay, I do have to complete the semester. Yeah. Just for like the GI Bill, but like.
Well, see that alone, you have a niche. Like, you actually have an interesting story, and I want to dive into that here in a little bit about your military background. So like, you're a jack of all trades. You're personable. You're like, you've got military experience in your background. So like, you've immediately got an audience of people just because of those. Like, just because of those facets.
And I appreciate it.
Right? So it's like whenever you like establish, and it may not come immediately, but that is a brand, that is an audience, like by itself.
I agree.
And then as you build your craft, that grows your brand and grows your audience and influence more and more and more. But if you just start making content around who you are, like around your military experience, your family life, like how you balance like doing this stuff with having a wife and like living your life and traveling and the experiences and things you've seen, like it can start out with literally just you talking to your phone. Yeah. Like you in front of a camera just sharing a story.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Whatever.
What kind of content? You're just saying like almost like what I'm talking. I'm just saying things. Okay. Because like for some reason when I hear like, oh, you should make your own content, I've heard that a couple times. I'm like, what should I be doing?
Yeah. Well, see, start simple. Like you just said, just you talking to the camera.
Just straight up.
That's it. And then as you get new ideas, or as you feel like, oh, I want to make this better, you can look up videos on YouTube, like how to make my videos more engaging, how to make my videos more interesting, how to add B-roll to my videos, how to make my videos more creative or artistic, whatever. Like you can look up these things and watch videos and learn how to use Premiere Pro, how to do color grading, how to apply LUTs, how to do all the back end stuff that like what we were talking about earlier, like that I've spent the last year learning about and geeking out about, and I've learned everything from YouTube.
It's amazing.
Everything.
What about hit record? Do you know anything about that? I keep hearing about hit record.
Is that worth it? I don't know. I haven't
Joseph
really.
Gordon-Levitt, right?
Do what?
I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's little like.
Oh, that's platform. Right. Yeah, no, I'm a part of that. I get those emails, but like.
Is it worth? What goes on there? Is that like YouTube or? I don't
honestly,
know.
It's like just a creator platform. Like it seems cool. Yeah, I mean it's cool. Like I'll probably upload some stuff to it eventually, but like. Yeah.
YouTube's number one. Period.
Yeah, like here's where I put my focus, okay? If you only have a couple of hours a week or whatever to dedicate towards this, like, and you've got to go bare minimum, here's what I would do. Focus on Instagram and YouTube.
You know what's going to surprise you right now?
What?
I don't have Instagram.
Oh my gosh. You got to get on Instagram.
It's the weirdest thing. People always go, where?
Especially after February.
What do you mean?
Well, Facebook bought out Instagram. They updated their algorithms and APIs. So all the business boosts that you would normally have gotten on Facebook is now transitioning into Instagram. So like your relevancy and the way that it shows up, just the algorithm, the way it reads the data, is favoring more towards Instagram now to Facebook, because Facebook is being deleted by people, like not even on most people's phone anymore. So yeah. So here's what I would focus on is Instagram and YouTube, and here's why. You can make at bare minimum 1 video a week, and in that video pull out 7 stills, which is like you freeze a photo, you pull out a photo, and you like pull a photo from the video. Pull out at least 7 of those so that you have a picture every day. If you don't have the time to just go step outside for a second and just take like 7 pictures, which most people could do on a weekend.
And these are for your IG, you're saying? The 7? Okay.
Yeah, because you want 1 for every single day. Okay. Right? So like, you just make sure that you're posting once every single day for Instagram. Wow. Whenever is best for you, but try to stick to a consistent time. And you can use scheduler apps like Sendable. That's what I use. I schedule my stuff out into the future.
So when do you do it for? Like, is it like evening posting?
I post at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And then if I want to sporadically post something, it's usually between 2 and 5.
I gotta get on there and follow you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm consistent. But essentially, you focus on Instagram and YouTube because you make your 1 video a week. Okay. Or you can do like what I do, and you can make 13 videos at once and then release them once a week.
That's smart.
That's what I do, because that's 3 months of content. Yeah. And then for a fact you're covered for the next 3 months.
Is that like what's happening right now? Or am I
Yeah.
This is part of that. Okay.
Yeah, like awesome. This today actually released the 2nd episode. So by the time they're seeing this has gone on for like 10 weeks now. Like it's been a good thing. It's like a big built up thing.
So 10 weeks from now this will air.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now I'm really ahead because I'm doing like 4 or 5 interviews a week, but they release once a week.
Yeah.
So it's like you can make 4 or 5 videos a week for like a month, and then you've got 3 months of content.
That's amazing.
And then it's like over the next 3 months you just casually make 13 more videos at some point, and
that's
then
so cool.
You're good to go, you know? And when the time comes to upload the video, if you don't like it, you can always make a new video that week.
Yeah, exactly.
And just scrap the old one,
That's amazing, dude.
Exactly. So you push that forward on, thank you, by the way. You push that forward on YouTube. On Instagram, you post once every single day, right? At least once every single day. And you use a program like IFTTT, if this, then that. It's a website, IFTTT.com. Okay. And you literally can set it up to where if I post to Instagram, natively publish this post to X. So what that means is instead of sharing the post and it being like shared by or like, the Twitter by, like the weird sharing format, it literally downloads the photo, copies the content, uploads the photo, uploads the content.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so it is actually native sharing, native content platform.
I gotta write all this stuff down, dude.
Yeah. So what happens is you upload your daily Instagram posts, and you say every time an Instagram post goes out, share to Twitter, share to Facebook, share to Tumblr, share to
everything, every
Pinterest, Blogger, whatever.
Are there any you'd say like I should stick away from, or just go all out?
If you can post to it.
Are you going all out?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. If you can post to it. Okay. Like I even posted the decentralized YouTube. It's called DTube.
DTube?
Yeah, it's like the decentralized blockchain YouTube.
Okay, yeah.
And you make money for every view that is on there.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about Bitcoin or Ethereum or goodness. Yeah. There's so many things we can talk about. But dude, that's amazing.
Absolutely,
amazing. Yeah. I gotta do this.
So those 2 things are how you dominate building a brand for yourself. And I would recommend and I actually have a tool that you can use for the content part for Instagram. I created a tool for creators that come onto the show, and I've shared it with the No Small Creator group. Pretty soon I'll be doing a tutorial video. So by the end of this, either the end of this month or like the middle of next month, I want to try to get that video out, which is basically a walkthrough on how to use the tool and how to use it. But it's basically you fill it out, you pick 365 quotes, put in 365 facts about your life, or like things about what you do or whatever related to your brand. then you put your interpretation on the quotes, your interpretation on the facts, and it pops out 2 posts a day every day for 365 days.
Oh my God, you're a saint.
It's so much easier than people think, honestly. It's just a matter of seeing where the strings are.
Let's just make a goal here. So when this airs in 10 weeks, I should have 70 posts of myself.
Yeah.
All right, dude, I got this.
You got it, dude. So that way, whenever people see your links in the description and they click on them, there's going to be plenty of content for them to see.
That's amazing.
Like, because whenever, in 10 weeks from now, you're going to be getting people clicking. They're going to be wanting to see who this guy is that's breaking into the acting industry from, a financial analyst background.
Such a different background.
Yeah, it's such a shift, man.
It is such a shift. It's honestly, I don't even know, sometimes I wonder how I got here, but then again, I was wondering the same thing at Wells.
Yeah.
Same thing before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, honestly, it's more connected than you think.
I think you're right.
Like, I was watching a YouTube video. I think I've talked about this on a couple of interviews now, but one of my old videos from way back in the day when I started making YouTube channel videos back in 2008. Oh, wow. And I'm an 8th grader.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "What are you recording that video for? Is it for YouTube?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I record the video and natively upload it to Facebook, MySpace, and YouTube so that I can distribute the platform to whoever's watching on those distribution platforms." Mm-hmm. As an 8th grader. Yeah, it's
what did that guy just say to me?
What the fuck? It's
who is this dude?
Yeah, it's like, who is this kid? What
awesome.
does he know? And then I come out here, and that's exactly what I've built my agency on the back of. But it's like I kind of been feeling recently kind of the self-doubt and the anxiety of whoa, did I just stumble into this? Did I do something just random to get this?
Yeah.
But then I look back and it's like, no, I've actually this is me. I've been doing this my whole life. Yeah. That's just who I am,
And I think so that same thing does apply to kind of how I've found myself where I'm at now. It's just I think the best way I can describe it is most people use a sense of caution in life with some things. I don't even know how. I feel like I'm handicapped when it comes to that. Literally any job after the military.
Yeah.
Obviously when you're in, you're not really applying to jobs, but I would just accept the first thing that came up, not really taking the time to, you read these things online what you should do. It's this is how you should do these things. And I'm over here oh, I got an offer, boom,
yeah,
first, straight in, you know what I mean, just cannonball.
That's how I am too. It's
and honestly, I see the positive in that. It could be considered, okay, maybe you could have been a little wary, you could have done different things that might have bettered you, but
hindsight is 20/20.
That's it. And the best part is I like the fact that I've done it cautionless, because I don't think I would have ended up here.
Right.
And where I'm at now is the most content, comfortable, confident I've ever been. And I owe it to kind of a background of just not rash decisions. Certainly the decision to enlist in the Army was made incredibly thoughtfully. And it was literally I was I was back in high school, and it was everyone's oh, what college are you going to? And I'm I'm going to go in the Army. And people are why? And I'm I don't know. It seems different. It seems cool. No one's doing this. 2% rule, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought I was going to enlist in the Marines, actually. The Marines were because my pap was a Marine, and I was I got to go Marines. That's just the thing to do. They're hardcore.
Right.
And then, it was around, this is 2008, so same time period you were just talking about. Really wasn't a good time for the Marine Corps.
Right.
For the Marines, for the military in general,
Right.
And so I think it was some teacher of mine at the time, kind of had a one-to-one with me. And they're hey, Nick, Marines are cool, but maybe you should look into more the intellectual type of branch, the Air Force or Navy, or even if you just want to go in any branch, maybe look into becoming an officer.
Right.
And I was okay, this seems a lot. So what I did was I looked into different options. A friend of mine told me about the National Guard, which I didn't know what that was. It was literally I remember it was we were in I forget which science, dissect cat science.
Yeah, biology.
Yeah, literally the words come out of his mouth, National Guard, and I was the first thought I had in my head were those black and white videos of troops kicking kids out of Little Rock's public high school, when they you know what I mean, when the first integration occurred in the South. I was oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And then he's no, dude. And so he took me to this they called them GX nights.
Yeah.
GX nights were these essentially almost just advertising nights for the local community. You could come. There was pizza, whatever.
I like pizza.
I love pizza.
It's enticing.
Yeah, Little Caesars. So I do some Little Caesars every
Dude,
time.
Little Caesars has stepped their game
I love
up, bro.
I never have a problem with cheap food, period.
Bro,
yeah.
with the cheese stuffed crust.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
It's like $7, and it's cheese stuffed crust, and it's amazing, and it's so much more filling.
Their deep dish is good too.
Oh man,
Their wings are good.
I get down with Little Caesars. They're bomb, dude.
I get down with all these places. Chick-fil-A.
People shit on them, but like honestly, Little Caesars is the best.
The only pizza I've honestly learned to shit on in life is like that of, people are gonna hate me, but like true Chicago deep dish.
Oh,
and it was like I went in with the most open of minds. You know what I mean? Like I'm from the East Coast, like you, so we're used to New York style, right?
Yeah.
Move there, and there's of course your home brands, Luminaldi's and Giordano's, right? Those are like the traditional, like there's just some other ones in there like Nancy's and whatnot. But so I went to both of them, and my wife and I, we tried the deep dish, and it's like you get full off of one slice, like you're full, like, and it's like I just never consider that pizza.
Yeah.
I like it as like a lasagna, like times 10, like powerhouse meal, like whatever we're gonna call this device here, like, but like as a pizza,
it's just different.
It's just like a whole different experience.
Yeah, and it's like they're trying to use the nostalgia of the word pizza, but like it's not pizza.
It's funny too because my brother and his fiance, like, they loved it. Like, they're from Pittsburgh too, but anyway, so GX night, National Guard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And, I'm there and I'm just like learning the very basics of like what all this is. And it's funny, I ran into somebody who went to like the same Catholic elementary school that I did, and we're just like shooting it. And I was like, okay, I think this might be the route to go because it seems as though it's going to accommodate something like a goal of mine to achieve like, a college degree. Right. Because the background I come from, I wouldn't have been able to afford one. Like, there's literally no one in my family that could even like co-sign on a loan, let alone like help me out.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know how it is, man.
Yeah, you gotta make it.
So it's like, I was like, National Guard. It seems that they're gonna pay for school, and it's like your commitment is like after you finish like basic training in AIT, which for me was about a total of like 10 months or whatever. You're then like set up to just do what you want because you only have to do 1 week in a month of training and 2 consecutive like weeks in the summer. Right. And that's
I've actually heard of that before.
It's amazing. And it's the model. All the reserves have it. Which like every branch in the military has a reserve component. But when it comes to like the National Guard, it's only like Army and Air Force that have that. And it's like the only difference is the funding. Like the reserves is literally like a part-time active duty, but National Guard has state money as well. So it's like they're kind of double funded. Interesting. That's why they are better for going to school. So I went that route. While I was in school, I kind of mentioned this earlier, I did ROTC. So because I did all these things simultaneously, when I graduated, I also commissioned as an officer. Except it was my intent not to stay in the National Guard upon graduation. Right. So I chose to go active duty. So this is where Oklahoma comes into play.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's funny because it's so interesting. Like when you enlist in the military, at least from the Army's perspective, I don't know about the other branches, but I'd assume they're the same. You get to choose your job, right? So long as you qualify. Right. Or you go in, you take the ASVAB, it's like the SATs for the Army or the military. You go in, they show you what jobs you qualify for. And they're like, and which one would you like, private? Like, they're very accommodated. You're like, I'd like to do that. And so I picked intelligence analyst. It's not a very, beautiful. Yeah. And then fast forward to commissioning, right? When you commission, you're an officer. It's like a position of power. You're now like a somebody and not a nobody. All these like sayings. But what's hilarious is you do not get to pick your job.
Oh, wow.
They literally are like, you're going to do this. And so the Army, and I'm assuming the Marines are probably pretty similar, they really value male officers that have combat arms experience. I don't know if that's changed since females have now been inducted into the wonderful hall of combat arms branches. But, back in my day, literally not too long ago, like 5 years ago, I was commissioned field artillery. So field artillery is actually out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma, because there's a ton of ground for giant guns to be trained with. Right. You know what I mean? And so when I went out there for training, my school was about, I want to say it was like 6 months long-ish, just for training, all that stuff. And then after that, you get your permanent duty station, which could be anywhere. And my wife and I, we kind of were familiar with the area at that point. And it was kind of like I don't know, like we were like happy, but like it was like it's still, you know,
Right.
it is what it is. So we just chose kind of like the path of least resistance and said, hey, is it possible we can just stay here? And so that's how we ended up staying in Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so our home was Lawton, Oklahoma, which is
I've heard of Lawton.
the most dangerous city in America for women.
Yeah.
There's like 10 unsolved
I feel like
murders.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
It's an interesting place to be.
When I lived in Tulsa, I definitely heard some stories about Lawton.
It's weird. Oklahoma, dude, it's like, I remember reading Lawton is like the 4th or 5th most populous city in Oklahoma, which
so
if you go to Lawton, you're like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Like, is this statistic happening?
Like, where are all the people?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so it's like your mind blows because you don't know, is it just like, did all the people disappear?
Yeah.
Or is this just like the scale? You know,
just Oklahoma.
Like if this is the 5th largest, like is it that just the scale? Like is the number 1 largest just really not that?
I think you were there.
Not that big.
I think you were there.
Yeah, I was there. Like,
or was it OKC? Maybe it's got to be one of those two.
I don't know if OKC or Tulsa has a bigger population. Honestly, I feel like Tulsa probably does, but that's just because it's like more alive, you know? Like, okay, we talked about this out in the parking lot, but OKC's more like out in the middle of nowhere.
You can never understand what's happening there.
Yeah, it's like you're like nothing. OKC.
Yeah. Oh, there's that one tower. They have one skyscraper.
Yeah, it's like Tulsa is like very natural and like beautiful and like residential. So
I remember driving through. You had that like that casino over there.
Yeah, dude. I love, and you could skate everywhere.
It's amazing.
It's like the sidewalks are super clean.
I need to go back.
They keep it really nice. Yeah, if I had to live in the Midwest, I'd probably live in Tulsa. But like, I don't want to live in. Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. I'm not going back.
I would go visit. It's funny you mentioned that, like clean Midwest cities. So for now we'll just fast forward over my 3 years living next to cows.
Yeah.
No lie, we had cows as neighbors.
Number one reason for pollution, ironically.
Right, because they're feces or like
for their farts. Yeah, they just fart CO2 into the air.
Wow.
It's weird. Like all of the burning and stuff that we do to the planet, the worst thing that we've done is actually make farms of cattle.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because it's like normally they wouldn't all be populated in like one spot like that.
One of the things I thought was like a good point to kind of like not stop this red meat issue, but like I enjoy a burger every now and then. Like,
yeah.
I've really tried to cut back. It's like, and it makes sense too because, you know, like you're supposed to take like, you know, you're supposed to get all your vitamins per day, take like a multivitamin, and it's like for the sexes, there's like a metal that each of us are supposed to have, and for women it's iron. My wife, she always is like low iron, so I'm like, honey, take iron or eat red meat.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, it's like red meat is like really good for women. But for guys, like, you know, it's like this conception that like steaks and burgers are like manly meals. When in actuality, iron, I'm pretty sure, doesn't it decrease testosterone, increase estrogen?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Whereas the opposite, the one that we need is zinc. Zinc is mainly found in seafood, especially shrimp. So it's like, you should probably be having the shrimp scampi and not shrimp. You know what I mean? Like, on the down low. But
anyway. Dude, fish is so healthy for you, too.
I love fish.
But like, and it also depends on the gut biome of the person. Because, like, who knows who you are, like, if you have, like, different strains of diabetes, like, what blood type you have, the way your body metabolizes sugars, like, your history with food, like, what have you put into your body? What have you been doing this whole time? You know, like, does it have a dependency on caffeine? Does it have a dependency on sugar? Does it have a dependency on, like, some sort of chemical because you take medicine or something?
Can you
like,
change that? Is there, like, a way to reset it?
Yeah, you could change it, you know, but it just takes time and consistency. Like, pretty much any diet can be beneficial for someone if it's done consistently. Like the carnivore diet, for example, like there's a lot of hype around the whole like just eating meat thing. It's like the flip side of the vegans, you know, like who just eat plants. And honestly, like it all breaks down to this whole thing where like you shouldn't be just eating one thing or the other. Like we're supposed to be omnivores.
Straight balance.
We're supposed to be balanced in our diet and our nutrition. Like,
you know what I found out that was so amazing? It was like, I think it's the what is it? The oyster is the most balanced food in nature.
Yeah,
it's
oysters
like
are really good for you.
33% carbs, lipids, and protein. I was always like, how is that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of stuff. It's weird. There's a lot of stuff in the sea that like naturally does sustain us. Like, you know, we were talking earlier about like we can't eat the meat without cooking it and stuff. Yeah. It's funny because Marilita and I were actually having this conversation. Tongue-tied. We were having this conversation earlier about like if there's another animal that's like humans, it's like dolphins. You know, like they have sex for pleasure. They get high by like going and getting puffer fish, you know,
no shit.
And they'll like not bite them, but they'll like kind of nibble their mouth on a pufferfish to get just enough of the toxins so that they can get high.
That's incredible.
Yeah, like they talk to each other. They like travel in packs and they have families. Like if we come from fish, we probably come from something like dolphins. Yeah. You know, like the water mammals, you know?
Yeah. I saw some like real goofy episode of like one of those things that's on like Discovery Channel where they do like, what was it, like the Megalodon thing was going on.
Oh, dude, they think they found
CG.
one.
Where is it, the Marina Trench? It was way down
there? No, like that's a movie, but they legit think that they found one down in like where the where is it, the triangle?
Oh,
the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
They think that they found like a big, huge ass shark down there. Like,
maybe that can explain all the crap that went down there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's a bit ignorant to try to think that stuff's not there. Yeah. Because like, why would things that are thousands of miles underneath the ocean just disappear?
Exactly.
Like the they were there before anything above water got there.
And we don't even know
what's care.
We can't even get down there. That's what's crazy.
You know, they found a new layer of water in the Earth's like thing. Yeah, and it's a different type. Like it's a new form of water. So like instead of there just being like the gas, ice, water, it's like a new state of water, like a whole other layer of water.
I'm sure I know what you're gonna say to this, but like, there's always that debate of like, should we be exploring space when like we don't even like know what's at the bottom of our own ocean?
I 100. I mean, I think we should be exploring everything.
Yeah, I think
because
so too. That's my
I think that some people are very interested in exploring the ocean, and they should 100% dive into that so we can all understand it. And I think that some people are more, towards space. I think that it's like kind of goes back to the energy thing that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think that when you come to Earth, like, if it is a decision that your spirit makes, like if that separation is there, that I think that you come with specific skills because of the fact that like everyone needs to play their part.
I agree.
You know, like if you zoom out in total at the, if you were able to like be outside of the universe, sure, like there's a lot of individual events that are terrible and like devastating, like stars explode, planets dissolve, like, things crash into each other, like, people, like, species go extinct, like, things happen that are prospectively sad and empathetic. But if you zoom out of the universe and look at it as a whole, all of that stuff has to happen in order for everything
to keep going.
And it's like, it's all beautiful and perfect when you actually zoom out of it. Like, people think that there's, like, honestly, my biggest issue when I was growing up, and kind of the reason why I've veered more away from religion, but still have that spiritual, like, I still, like, feel there's something there, but it's like the actual, like, basis of religion, like, part of what's kind of weeded me off of that is that, like, there's just a lack of that pursuit to connect. It's like people think they have it figured out, and it's like in reality, and they have this whole thing where they'll give you the spiel that, oh, the world is so evil and it's so dark, and like the world is gonna burn, and like the apocalypse is coming, and like whatever, death and gloom, and blah, like bashing it.
Death is no ending.
Exactly. It's like, I don't see the point. It's like the world is not this ugly, dark, sin-filled like place just waiting for you to make mistakes. Like,
that's made up by us.
Exactly. Like, who told you that? Like, nobody told you that except for some other human being that like decided that.
Yep.
Like, no thing in the universe told you that you had to do this or that. Like, when you zoom out, like, everything is perspective. Saudi Arabia, it is 100% natural that if you were to steal something, you could get your hand cut off. You do that here, and the person that cut your hand off will go to jail.
Right. It just is what
it's a perspective. That doesn't make that shopkeeper evil.
Yeah.
It means that their perspective and their experiences were different. And it, like, if you go on a spiritual level even, it's like, it doesn't make sense to me at all why an all-powerful, all-loving entity would burn an entire subsect of its population just because it made them born in a different place and have different experiences that make them believe what they believe.
Right.
Like, if you were born in Saudi Arabia, you probably are like Islamic. You believe in the Muslim religion. Did I say that backwards? You're probably a Muslim. Yeah, I think you would probably be a Muslim, part of the Islamic thing. Yeah, sorry, I said that backwards.
No, you're good.
My bad. If you're watching this, I apologize. My bad. But yeah, no, like, you would be just as faith driven to it as Christians in America.
Right.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, to think that your beliefs and what you think about the world, like, it's so like narcissistic to push that out and to believe that like everyone else is just wrong.
Yeah, and it's almost like this whole, like, we went as far back as Constantinople, and it's like when that began, when someone like took the very basis of Christ's message, which is essentially not even the golden rule. I would argue the golden rule is like a like perversion of what Christ was actually trying to teach us, which is a little bit deeper, a little more spiritual, and probably less easy to understand, especially in our like modern capitalistic, very shallow circumstances. I would call it the platinum rule. Mm-hmm. Don't treat others like they want to be treated. That's bullshit. You can't do that. Yeah. Treat others like they're you.
Dude.
Because they are you. Because there's no difference between you and I, or that person, or, you know. And so I think that was the basis. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you pervert that, as soon as you alter that, you now establish, what essentially, I was raised Catholic, so I feel the right to say this. You have like the old school church, like the Greek Orthodox Catholic Church, and all you have are these layers and layers and layers upon which, we finally arrived to this, like, where I think we're at late stage capitalism, which is like the aesthetic from which people are understanding our world. Like, no one's looking at the world for what it is, for the nature of it, for how things come and go, and there's an ebb and flow. People look at it in a completely misinterpreted way, and it's because we invented what that aesthetic. We invented how people look at it. It's based off of who's got the most toys in the end. It's based off of like evil and good and things that like we invented to secretly better ourselves. Like the people who made these things up are not stupid. Yeah. The people who have done this, these dynasty families, I don't know who they are, these top 1%ers, they're geniuses. Yeah. And in fact, they kind of do deserve everything they have because they were able to manipulate the masses in the way they were.
Absolutely.
Like you hear about the, who's that family? The ones that they played both sides of like every European war since.
The Rothschilds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Geniuses. Like they deserve to be where they are. If I don't say anything's wrong with that, but at the same time, it's like, it's unfortunate because there are so many people that think that the status quo is God, when in fact God is us. Yeah. I'm not saying we have a God complex, but like he is in each of us. And the only way we can ever truly kind of crack open his power or even reveal our own is through like that simple acknowledging of one another and being low key and being open to what others have to say and do. Yeah. Because there's always going to be cultural differences, just like we talked about. So why, just know that not everyone's the same, but at the same time we are the same.
Yeah, and then there's their experiences too.
Yes.
Like, you don't know what they've seen and what they haven't seen.
Right.
Like in my childhood, I don't know specifically why or what happened or the things surrounding it, but like I saw miracles from multiple religions.
Tell me.
So it's like, I'm trying to think of the best place to start, but like I went to a lot of different types of churches. Like I would go to Catholic churches, and like when I started like exploring like Judaism, and like not like as like follower of the religion,
just to look into it.
Yeah, just to look in so I can understand the perspectives. Yeah. And so I would go to like a bunch of different churches to understand like their perspectives and read their Bibles and like research their people and like that kind of stuff. And legitimately, like as a person that grew up primarily Christian, I saw like a lot of people be healed, where like they had like a broken leg and somebody like put their hands on him and the person was running around.
That's
like
incredible.
Yeah, like I've seen it happen, like with my own eyes, like up close and personal, that kind of stuff.
And it was like real, like
and it's like there's no like faking that. Like that's
weird.
Like the one time there was someone that had a gash in their leg, like just people prayed for it. About 2 hours later, completely clean, like nothing on their leg. Like,
that's crazy.
It's like you can't fake that. Yeah. But then at the same token, I've seen other beliefs and in other situations with other people, the same exact thing. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I just think that people hold the power. I think that we have the entire universe inside of us. Like, even if I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate my thoughts, but it's like
I hear you, man.
With Christianity specifically, I think one of the reasons why I was comfortable being the way that I am and just accepting that I don't know what I don't know. It's like I have my theories. Like I believe, like I said, that we all make up part of that energy that we interpret as one. Mm-hmm. So like when we think that God or the universe is speaking to us, I think that it's really the ocean. We're hearing those ocean waves,
right.
But the ocean waves isn't one person. That's not one entity. It's these millions of little things that's why it works in whispers, because it's
I love that, by the way.
That's the way I interpret the universe and like interpret energy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
it's almost like I think too, like, sorry to cut you off. But
no, you're fine.
I think that in a way, like, the fact that any follower of any religion can think or even say that all the answers can be found here in my thing that I was raised with, incredibly ignorant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost ignorant to say that any religion can explain anything to begin with, but like, it's almost like if you're going to be religious, like there should be like a mega religion that just combines everything.
Right.
It should just be like a giant book, because like.
And that's what I was going to say, actually, with my journeys through Christianity, the reason why I was comfortable to have the position that I have now, which is that I don't know anything. Like, I'm open and I'm just exploring and experiencing the universe, and like what comes in my way is what comes in my way, and like I'm seeing what I see. Like, who knows? Like, I just live in peace and positivity and like put the best of me out there at all times and live in the moment that I have.
Yeah.
If I wake up and I'm in the clouds with some person and like, then we'll talk about all the good shit that I did and how I made a lot of people feel happy, and like either way, like I don't care, it's like that kind of a thing. But what made me ultimately feel at peace about it is that even if you look in Christianity, for example, because that's primarily how I grew up, and you actually look at the texts of Jesus Christ, like this whole thing is continued as far as like Christianity being this thumb that people put on you and like these rules that you have and these things that you have to do. But that completely contradicts their own Bible. Mm-hmm. Like the book that they base everything off of completely contradicts the words that come out of most of the preachers' mouths.
Right.
Because everything that Jesus Christ talked about was decentralizing the religion and decentralizing that connection to God, that you didn't need this preacher to connect you to God, that it was in all of us, that it was a connection and a spirit that drove every human being forward, that it was your ideas. It actually says in the Bible, when Jesus is talking to his followers before he ascends and goes back to heaven or whatever, that he says that human beings will eventually live to do greater and more powerful works than he ever did in his time on earth. So like the miracles, like turning the water into wine and like healing the sick and the lame and the blind and all that stuff,
will be capable of.
Like he says that we are capable of it. He literally tells us that he talks about rekindling, basically what he's talking about is reconnecting that attachment from Adam and Eve to God, like that connection that was broken, quote unquote, was reestablished basically.
Oh wow!
From that point on, it's in his last words where it is finished.
Yeah,
like he didn't say it is finished, but you got to do these things. It is finished if you do that.
Yeah,
this is the deal. If there is no but or if or sideline or attachment. It is just the perfect. We live in this world that is like life. You take care of what you're passionate about, and you do the things that drive you forward and that are going to allow other people to be passionate and love and have that drive forward as well. It's like agree. That's it.
I agree.
That's it. We're living like people say that we live in this like to circle back to the point. People say that we live in this dark world on this planet that's like out to get you, and this sin that's like out to get you. Mm-hmm. But that's just not true. The world is beautiful. Like there's so much culture and belief and tradition and thoughts and perspectives and stories and things that you can't even imagine because you have never lived that life.
Yeah.
That other people are actively living every single freaking day.
And it seems like the world is like maybe I wasn't around 1,000 years ago, but it's almost as if the world's like a happier place now. Like
so communication is what does that.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. The internet.
Yeah.
Bringing everybody
100%. Since the creation of the cell phone, or since the creation of the telephone, communication, that is the reason why life will never be negative again. Like obviously negative things happen, but overall society-wise, life day to day will never go back to being that way again as long as communication exists.
I think you're right. I think it definitely helps bring down mental, physical borders. I mean,
well, the majority of people, if you hear that someone did something shitty, then the reaction is we'll get them away so that we can have a peaceful, good life.
Yeah.
And over time, like the more that happens, the standard goes from like, instead of clawing your way to the top and like cutting at people to get your way up.
Good point.
The standard becomes, in order to have this life, you have to be nice, you have to be connected, you have to be empathetic.
It's like heaven's like a shared state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we live in a time and place and time when, like, essentially we live in that world. You can do whatever you want to in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, I feel for victims that have things happen to them. Like, I've had things happen to me and I can't control them, and it's sad. Like, right. But I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
you have
I'm
to know
here.
that you can evolve, you can change. And
Exactly.
that's honestly one of our God-given super talents or abilities. You know, we are able to confront things and move on with them and
shake things out of nothing. Like, we literally have the ability to pull things out of nothingness. Like, the airplane 250 years ago didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that's how people get around now.
It's amazing.
Like, the concept of a cell phone was like devil magic.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the concept of being able to look into a mirror and communicate with someone.
That is like devil magic.
Was devil magic.
That's crazy.
And now we have a thing in our pockets that is 10 times more powerful than what Nixon ran the entire free world with.
Would you call these like new technology, like would you call technology like a miracle itself?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah,
like
science is just a miracle. Like, life is just miraculous, dude. Like, things are crazy and they exist and they just
like
continue to live, you know? It's just all life. Like, life lives to exist and to continue and to develop and to spread.
Right.
And that's why I think it's very hard to believe that there's not life out on the planet, on other planets, because life, even on a microbiome existence level, like on a tiny microscopic, you can't see it level, it wants to exist. Every cell in your body wants to exist.
So what do you think about people that like experience like depression or anxiety? Is that just like is that like a mental conflict with like what's going on? Like, 'cause I
actually have a theory that it's your spirit not reconciling itself with your body.
That's interesting. Can you say that again? Your spirit not reconciling itself with your body?
Yeah. So like I said, I believe that your energy, and I think that you go through these cycles, you know? So maybe it's like you know, you're in this new body and it's like you aren't on the same wavelength. Like, maybe your brain and your energy is like this old you, but you're now in this new you.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like maybe
like interspecies?
Possibly. Okay. Who knows? You know, like,
but bottom line.
Yeah, bottom line. Like, I don't think it matters, you know? Like, at the end of the day, it's like I will talk and interact with whoever comes and talks and interacts with me. Like, when I was a kid, I used to see what I interpreted. I don't know if they were or not, obviously, so don't go crazy in the comment section, but like, I legitimately used to see what I thought were ghosts, like, all the time.
You probably did.
And the reason why I believed it was because, like...
Your guard's down, you're a child.
Yeah.
Your mind isn't shaped.
The crazy thing is, it's like, legitimately, it would be as clear as you sitting here talking to me right now.
You would see things?
Yeah, like, let's say I would see, like, a chick sitting next to you, and she starts telling me stuff about you. And
you could hear her?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, and she would know, like, and be like, yo, you can hear me. Like,
that's not happening right now.
No. It hasn't happened in years. Like, honestly, it's something I suppressed.
What do you think ended that?
I started getting freaked out by it, and I started to learn how to suppress it. And essentially, I would, like, focus on the positivity inside of me and just making that positive bubble bigger. And so right at the point that I'm at right now, like, I feel like I like exude this energy kind of a thing.
I can feel
That's
it,
like, so it's like, I don't think I see it anymore because the energy bubble's gotten so big around me that, like, it keeps it away from me, you know?
So were those things negative then? Like the fact that you'd see...
Sometimes, but...
Not all the time.
Not all the time, but it was more so my perception, like, because I would freak myself out, you know, the fear, you know, even though there's not really anything to be scared of there.
Yeah.
I definitely got scared, like, a lot all the time of it. And so, like, it would be as crystal clear as, like, let's say there was a chick sitting there right now and she'd be like, well, tell them about you know, that time at the river or something like that. And I'd be like, yo, this is weird, I'm really sorry, but, like, does this mean anything to you? And, like, I would just start telling them this stuff, and like, people would literally start crying, being like, how do you know? Like, I've literally never told anyone that before in my life. And it's like, yo, this person's just telling me. And
That's crazy.
like I'm freaking out because I'm like a kid, you know. It's like all I know is to like I'm communicating messages for people, and it's like I don't understand why they can't see this person too. It's
almost like when you are of that level of innocence, like you might be more connected with things that us as adults, like, you know, we cut ourselves off from it. I blame it on the status quo. It's this like, I don't know, this like dreadful curtain that hangs down like middle America, and like it's like you got to do this and this is how things are, and blah, blah, blah. I just
think it's a control thing in general.
And
like with the whole psychedelics thing, you know, it's really interesting is they believe, have you ever heard of mana?
Like the concept of like what is it, like heaven?
No, so like they call it the food of the gods. Like basically they're finding out now that back in the time of like Jesus Christ, for example, they would consume this stuff called mana before their interactions, like before they would pray and preach and stuff like that. And they believed that it had mushrooms in it.
Of course it did.
So like the psychedelic, like these trippy experiences where like they think we're attached to like psychedelic stuff.
I 100% believe that too, because it's almost as if like, unfortunately, like as adults, we need those
or
things.
Like ayahuasca or something like the mixture with something like that.
Or what is it, like the cactus stuff? What's the cactus? San Pedro. And, mescaline.
Is it?
San Pedro and the other one make mescaline. I forget the other one. It's a little fat one with the little shrubs. Yeah. Peyote.
Yeah. That's how did I not?
Dag now.
Yeah, it's like.
But I see it as like, it's almost like another cross-religious experience is this concept of enlightenment. I believe that all humans are born enlightened. And that enlightenment is it's almost like your pH level with the universe is balanced. And so you can experience things that like us adults can't, because at this point in our life, we have been too formed, too shaped, almost like a smith, like hammering us to make us who we are in life.
Absolutely.
And we are that, you know, that hand with the hammer too. It's like, we become this way because of what the world does to us. And so in a way, that's the benefit of such things as, let's call it mana, let's call it, you know, mescaline, let's call it LSD, what have you. That's almost like our way of reconfiguring our pH balance for like a period of time.
100%.
So that we're able to like reset. And
I love the use of pH balance.
You know what I mean?
Water.
It's
my thing about water.
Yeah,
like, I love it.
It's awesome. I think that's honestly like it's something like that, because it's like, unless you're able, and it's impossible to stay perfect, like without the world's gonna shape you.
Yeah.
So you're gonna lose your ability to interact with whoever you were interacting with, like apparitions, and you're gonna lose your, I don't know, everything that you once were is like what you hope to return to.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, it's like death is nothing to be feared. If anything, it's like your free pass back to that.
Yeah.
If you believe in reincarnation, maybe your spirit just, now you're over here. Maybe you're in a holding cell for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the middle, it's honestly like you just have to let yourself know that everything's good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because the world honestly, will certainly try to convince you otherwise.
How do you know that you don't just wake up like a dream? You know, like
every day?
Have you ever thought about the concept, like, do you ever have a life dream? Like, most of my dreams are really weird and unique in the fact that I have these things, what I call life dreams.
Yeah.
Where, like, I'll go to sleep physically, like, I'll go to sleep at night, right? And I'll sleep, like, 8 hours, you know? So, like, physically, I'm laying in bed sleeping 8 hours, at least in this version of reality that I'm living right now, right? And in that 8-hour dream, I will have a life where, like, I might have, like, a wife and kids and like job and like go to work and like have these cycle, go do things, come home, go to sleep, wake up, go do things, go to sleep, wake up, go home.
So it's a big period of time.
Yeah, and like day to day to day to day to day for years and years and years and years and years.
Sounds like DMT.
Yeah, like my dreams are oftentimes that way. Yeah. Right? And then I wake up and it's like legitimately freak out. Like I've one time had a freak out because I like had a dream I was married to somebody and it was before Mary Alita and I got together. She kind of grounds me more now because I roll over and I'm like, oh yeah, Mary Alita. Okay, this is reality. Mary Alita's here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like I had a dream that I was married and I was single at the time.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I started freaking out, like thinking that my family like disappeared or like got abducted or something, like looking around the like place, like tearing up shit and like freaking out, just like going crazy for a second. And then I realized like, oh wait a second, that was a dream.
See, that's so incredible. And it's really cool that you bring up how, you know, now you have someone that reminds you of where you are in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, going back to your point, what was your point about a conflict between spirit and body?
Yeah.
What was that again?
Yeah, so we were talking about anxiety and like depression, and I was saying I have a theory that what causes that, other than it being a chemical imbalance in your brain, because that's literally what it is you're chemically imbalanced. So you feel emotions that aren't attached to the actions happening at the moment.
Yeah.
So like you may feel like, your dog died, but you just won an award.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't line up to what's going on. I think that it's possible that maybe your spirit isn't in line with the body that you're in at that moment in time.
And I think that might have something to do with almost like the basic concept of like human contact. Like I heard somewhere that like, when you take like a single person, you study how they are, and then you study like people that sleep together, those people's hormones are like enhanced or something.
Yeah.
And if hormones are like, your body's access to your brain chemicals and to your spirit and whatnot, by having someone with you, it grounds you in that moment. It allows you to like perceive that it's okay and you're here, and I don't know, it provides almost like just a better situation.
100%. It's funny you were talking about like with your body and everything connected to your spirit. It's funny when you think about the fact that like if you hurt yourself, like even that sentence I just said, I didn't say you got hurt or like hurt happened to you.
Yeah.
I said you
hurt yourself.
Yeah. There's, even in our basic form of communication, even in our base language, we separate who we are as what we're experiencing and the body that we reside in.
Oh, wow.
So that's mind-blowing. Hurt my arm.
Yeah.
I am sitting on the couch.
Oh, wow.
Like I am sitting, so am the body that is sitting. It's like you're saying that I am the body that is, or I am the person that is, or I am the action that is.
As opposed to, like, what would be another way to...
As opposed to saying, like, I hurt, or, like, something happened to me. It's like, instead of saying, like...
So there's like a disconnect, you're saying.
Like if I bump into the door, and like break my arm, I say I broke my arm. I'm such a klutz. I broke my arm. Yeah. But like an animal would interpret it as the dog attacked them and the door broke their arm. Like my arm was broken by the door. It's like different. It's not like a connected. You know what I'm saying?
Is it almost like, does this all come from stoned ape? You know what I mean? Is this
I don't know.
Or separation?
I don't know. And honestly, I think that the whole stoned ape thing may have just created communication between...
I get what you're saying.
Between people. Like advanced communication. Because honestly, like, that seems to be the thing.
Or was it like simply the key to unleash like everything? Like art...
That's what I think, honestly, because like
it was all there.
Communicating is what connects everything that has driven the world forward. Everything past hunting and gathering and the basics of survival, everything past that is communication.
It was like, that's such a time lapse too. It was like, when was the internet invented? When did we like have our last hunting gathering society?
Like we finally figured out, like we literally finally figured out to where hunting and gathering, we didn't have to like move and like go cross nation and like do all that. We could be in a centralized location, even though there were tribes that like had cycles and stuff. They had their areas, their tribal locations that they would cycle through. So like we figured out how to literally cultivate. It took us millions of years to figure out how to cultivate and be in one spot and to survive and like have fire and like that kind of stuff. And we were scared. We were scared of the animals. And then overnight, we're suddenly able to communicate with each other. The Silk Road exists. Yeah. We communicate with animals.
Dogs are our friends.
Dogs are our friends. We
have cats.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot there to communication that we don't understand. And if we could understand a way, like what we started with this podcast, I don't know if this is before we turned the air on or not, but like if we were able to communicate with trees.
Oh, yeah.
Like at the Sequoia Forest, for example, like the oldest trees on the planet. Like, what could we learn from those trees?
Yeah, and it's almost like, imagine if we were able to talk to them and they were able to communicate some sort of like ancient message, or even like a very simplistic message that it'd almost be like we all have this gut feeling about, but like, oh, here's this thing telling me this. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be great, but like, I wonder if like conversations like that would benefit us, because I still think that even like the most evil of us would still be like, burn that thing the hell down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and so that makes me wonder if like at the stage we're in like our communicative abilities, how is it that, we're so smart, we have all this technology, how is it that we're still like talking about like, I don't even know, like, American Idol and like the latest fashion trends, when like there's some pretty like obvious things that we should be discussing, like for serious, like that we're just not, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think that it requires the large majority of population to be talking about it to drive the action forward.
Just it starts with something small is what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the majority of people have to be comfortable and live that life, or life as we know it can't exist, because everybody can't be the traveling millionaire like dude that's got it figured out and is like traveling the world. Like somebody's got to be there to run the hotels. Somebody's got to run the airlines. Somebody's got to run the hospitals. Somebody's got to run the law offices and the restaurants and the cleaning stations and like someone has to do that. So I think in order for that to be possible, docility, so like being I don't know if that's the right word, the right way to verbalize that word, but making people docile over like a broad spectrum, right? Yeah. So I think that spreading the docile nature that, social media, TV, like, I think that all of that has its place, because without the ability to basically have some people tune out and choose to live that life, and that's where they get their dopamine, is in that short interaction. Literally, communication in society can't continue because everyone wants to be the chief, and then you don't have any Indians.
Well, what about all Indians? What about all Indians? Because I really do think like it's great that everyone needs that like tune out, but the tune out from what? Tune out from being from playing a small role in a system that was invented to benefit few.
Yeah. Like
I honestly truly believe that like this is gonna go way at it. I'm gonna go on a little like like the Emancipation Proclamation didn't destroy slavery. It broadened it.
Yeah.
The golden handcuffs became a thing. It wasn't too much longer after that the central bank, the Fed,
right,
which is something I don't understand how that is not a topic of discussion for Americans every day.
But it's not even actually federal.
It's not even a part of the government. They don't answer to the government.
Yeah.
Who do they answer to?
They're a private company.
Yeah. Every central bank is all connected throughout the world. That's a little bit, to me, it's a topic that could be considered important.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, you're right. It's like they're in this grind, and the status quo has given them the cards that they've been dealt. And it's like, but at the same time, what was that famous economist in like the 1920s, Keynes? He predicted that by 1980, that no one would be working. Like maybe 10%. The
problem is corporate America.
Oh, of course.
And so like they figured out that what happened is whenever they industrialized, instead of an 8-hour workday, they were able to cut it down to like a 4-hour workday. But they realized we can get double the production if we just make you continue working the 8 hours.
It's also like things could be automated. His assumption was based off of automation, which is like the only guy that's steering us in that direction right now is Elon Musk. But
it's because people get paid on an hourly basis. That's why it's a problem. That's why it's not working. And that's on purpose, 100%, I believe, is like to stop that trajectory.
Yeah.
Because when you pay people on an hourly basis, it's not the work that gets produced. So I am not motivated to make more websites than Joe Blow, who has half the skill of me and can only make 5 websites in a day. But I know Joe Blow gets paid the same as me. I'm going to make 5 websites a day.
Yeah, you're right.
Even though I have the ability to make 25 in a day or whatever. Yeah. Like,
you're going to do the minimum.
You're going to do the minimum because you're not going to make more to do more.
And it hints at, like, clearly, like, I don't know what form of government you prefer, but, like, I think that the concept of socialism is not a bad one. It clearly works on our strengths, which is doing the bare minimum. There you go, right there. Nobody wants to do more than they have to. Come on. Then it's like, if we had a world of automation where all these, like, secondary and, like, tertiary, like, economic, like, jobs, like, could be run by, like, straight up, like, machines, then we could almost, like, live in a place where that wealth is more evenly distributed and shared. And it's not, because if socialism is, like, the monstrosity form of, like, if communism is the monstrous form of socialism, I think we've all been lied to, because I think really where we are at this stage of capitalism, it's exactly that. We live in an oligarchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone hears about that. There was that study Northwestern did with like MIT or something about if our vote actually does matter.
Yeah.
It's like a 30-year study, and it secretly does not.
Right.
Because ultimately the people that we're voting for are they're put there by people that are going to get their wishes fulfilled no matter what. That's a definition.
It's just security theater, you know? Like, people need to feel secure.
Yeah.
And they need to feel like they have a say, and that's like...
Keeps the masses under control.
Exactly. Because not everybody can be the chief.
Because we're not going to ask about why the Fed exists if, like, we think we have a vote.
Yeah. Or if they think that it's the federal government.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, it's just part of the federal government. Okay.
You're right. Sense. And that's like, did you see that movie, The Founder, with Michael Keaton? It was about the guy who started McDonald's. It doesn't matter if you did, but it was funny because I think it's Ray Kroc, right? He was the founder and creator of McDonald's, right? Well, he wasn't. The story was there was like a burger joint out here actually in San Bernardino called McDonald Brothers. And he was like a traveling salesman for like fast food restaurants in Illinois actually at that time. And he came out here for some reason and he saw the concept of McDonald's. Mm-hmm. He was like, this is genius. And he was the one that essentially stole their idea and made it into what it is today.
Oh, I've heard of it, yeah.
And so he at the very end, it was like a very famous quote. And he's like, you know, it all came down to the name. Nobody would go to Crocs. Mm-hmm. Because it was called McDonald's. Very wholesome, like, you know, almost like agricultural era America, like name, you know, like it was all about the name. And the same thing applies to the Fed. I was thinking about this the other day. It's so interesting, but there was an aviary that was opened in Pittsburgh like 10 years ago called the National Aviary. Now get this. That name was available. That's why they named it that. If it was called the Pittsburgh Aviary, whatever. You know, maybe people would go. But because it was called the National Aviary, you can look it up. Their tourism statistics are great. People actually go there because they think what they're going to is like the American, like the National Aviary. Yeah. It's not. It was a name that was simply available. Same thing goes for the Federal Reserve. If we called it like, you know, the oligarchy ran mega bank, ready to like alter your life at the flick of a switch, you know, control all the money. Then like, well, people be like, I don't know if we should trust those people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but anyway.
Dude, that's such a good point though. And
the
honestly,
National Aviary.
Like honestly, where I fall, I don't think that it matters. You know, like I think that government and this whole thing is a way, like I said, to just appease the masses of people who are not going to take action and not going to do anything.
Exactly.
Like, because you have to understand that, like, yeah, people like you and I that feel passionately and can talk and have these conversations and try to do things and open up these doors. We will continue to move forward, and there's enough of a percentage of people like that. Like, let's say it's 4%, right? That 4% of millions of people is quite a few. Mm-hmm. Like, that's hundreds of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. Like, that's quite a few people actively trying to make things happen every single day, right? So I think that the whole governmental system and like all of these things in place, I think it's just like this security theater mantra. It's like a play that is just happening in real life right in front of us to make us feel that things are taken care of. Yeah. Like, you've got laws, so you feel like your rights are secure. But like, I mean, what even are rights?
What are the police? Like,
what if they just, like, they have a weapon in their hand. Yeah. They're a human being. If they make the decision to shoot you, then they make the decision to shoot you. Like, if they want to justify it whatever way, on the end of that, it doesn't matter. Like, you're gone.
You're right. It's interesting, too, because it's like, you have to wonder how many people, and you and I aren't even, like, at the level that others in history have achieved. Like, these, like, upstanding, like, challenge the system type of characters. Yeah. You have to wonder how many of those just disappeared or like didn't gain enough notoriety.
Like nobody found out about what they were doing.
Like the guy who and he was it's kind of crazy. The guy who invented the first electric car, like years ago. He just, no one knows where he went. Like,
what happened to all that stuff that was in the Library of Alexandria?
Yeah, what happened to that?
It got burned down. They literally had most of all the science and technology in the Greco-Roman mythological era, like, right at the height of the Roman Empire, like right before it crashed.
And it just burned.
The Library of Alexandria was burned down by an imposing force.
Do you think
came in.
Burned down? Or do you think there's some copies? Or?
No, yeah, there's someone came in and burned it down. Like they didn't. They thought. I think it was the Chinese, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong on that. But essentially, like there was an ancient thing, and they didn't want the history to be preserved. They were like, this isn't relevant to what our beliefs are, so we're gonna burn it all down.
Yeah.
The logic was if they came in and they said if it was in line with their beliefs, then burn it because we've already got plenty of literature to support our beliefs. Wow. And if it's against our beliefs, burn it because it's against our beliefs.
Pretty simple,
so they basically burned everything.
You're either with us or against us.
Yeah. So like there was all of this technology, these things that had been built, like literal inventions that had been that were created and existed. Are everything we knew about Egypt and the pyramids and like all the science behind the whole world gone.
Do you ever think that's why it seems like to this day we're still like discovering crap that should have happened a while ago?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
absolutely. Like, they now think that Egyptians had electricity.
Yeah.
Because they found copper wiring throughout the pyramids that was like wired out to where there were these locations throughout it, and like the different metals and the way that they mixed would actually like have the lightning storms that connected with the pyramids and be able to generate electricity, and like with the metals and the way that it was positioned and all that stuff.
It's like Atlantis, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like it's crazy to me that they found out that this is actually a thing. Like,
yeah, I believe it too.
Like possibly solar like electricity with copper wiring in the pyramid times, and that's how they were able to. They think that might be how they were able to like get the rocks so finely ground down, you know, because they've always wondered that, like, well, how did they do it? Because they didn't have the technology to like push it and do stones and that kind of stuff.
Honestly, it's like funny if you sit back and think about it. It almost like it makes less sense that we've been doing things the way we've done things, and more sense like if you're just like a human, maybe you recently had a mushroom. First thing you're gonna think is like, where can we get power from? Oh, what about that giant ball of flame in the sky? Like, you know what I mean, you're not gonna like be like, how when we flip a switch on. There's a whole elaborate process that goes to like a power generator and some distributor. You know, it's like that was not a natural way of thinking. Yeah, like, that was like a very complicated, engineering, different mindset. You know,
absolutely, yeah. Like I think we're the only animal that adapts the world to fit our needs.
I think so,
as opposed to us adapting and like living that world to like have it happen to us. You know,
I agree.
So I do think it's about time to wrap up the episodes. But before we get out of here, what do you have that you want people to know about? Where can they find you? Like, are you going to start putting out some content? Going to make an Instagram?
I'm going to get on that. I am so sorry, world. So I didn't have a great relationship with social media. I felt like my world was, like my like existence was loud because of it. But I think there's some ways to, utilize it for good in general. And so, my goal now is to utilize Michael's advice here. Yeah. I will be creating an IG, probably with your help. Yeah. And my wife's, whoever's.
Absolutely.
And, you know what, I'll get with you and get that information out there so people can follow or track or whatever you want.
And all the links will be down in the description.
That's amazing.
It'll be something along the lines of Nicholas Lehman, all one word or something. We'll figure it out.
Get a clever
we'll see what's available. Who knows? Who knows?
National Instagram.
Oh yeah. National Acting Associates. Yeah, that's what you'll call it.
I'll get all these followers.
All these followers will be like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about.
This guy's a killer out here.
Yeah, killing it, bro. Well, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you so much for coming in and having all these awesome out there conversations. I love it, dude.
This is amazing.
We're now gonna go get some Chick-fil-A. So. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye. If you liked this episode of the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and follow on whatever your listening application of choice may be. That way, you can get notifications every Wednesday when we upload a brand new episode. If you're listening to this via audio podcast format, you can watch the video for this episode on YouTube, DTube, or pretty much any other platform where video can be natively distributed. Please be sure to like, comment, and share to get the conversation rolling and build out this community of like-minded professionals so we can learn from each other and share our stories. Links to all the products I use to make this content are down in the description below, as well as all the links for our fantastic guest and what we talked about in this episode. If you would like to further show your support for the channel, you can find out how you can be a direct supporter on Patreon or Anchor in the description below. Or you can make your way over to shopmichaelbisbell.com and get yourself some awesome new merch from our collection of designs or one of the digital tools to help accelerate your own brand forward.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Wednesday Wanderer. I look forward to seeing you back here next week.